Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz with me, Deepika. In the next half an hour, we're going to bring you all the latest from the world of sports. Let's quickly begin with the top headlines of the hour. India versus England fifth and final test match underway in Dharamshala. Ravichandran Ashwin and Johnny Bairstow both handed over their 100th test match cap. Kuldeep stars with 5-wicket haul as England all out at 218 on day one. In Women's League Cup, Arsenal cruises into final, defeating Aston Villa by 4-0. May face Chelsea or Manchester City in super finale scheduled for the 31st of March. And in a great delight for Indian tennis fans, Sumit Nagal sneaks into main draw of the Indian Wells Masters as Rafael Nadal withdraws from the tournament. So those were the top headlines of the hour that we are tracing for all our viewers and sports lovers on DD India. Now let's begin with the top news of the day. First up from cricket. India is currently taking on England in the fifth and final test match at Dharamshala from today onwards. Now a brilliant bowling display from India's Kuldeep Yadav and Ravichandran Ashwin's masterclass helped India bowl out England to a paltry total of 218 runs on day one of the fifth and final test match. Kuldeep Yadav took his fourth 5-wicket haul, giving away 72 runs. Together with Ravichandran Ashwin, who took 4 for 51, the duo shared 9 wickets between them, with Ravindra Jadeja chipping away with 1. In the second session, England lost 6 wickets in the session for 94, and in the morning session, opener Zach Crawley made a classy unbeaten half-century after surviving an extended opening spell from the Indian pacer. He scored his fourth 50 of the series but once again failed to convert it. Earlier, England's skipper won the toss and opted to bat first. At one stage, they were cruising at 137 for a loss of 2 wickets, but the next was 8 wickets for just 81 runs. For India, Devdutt Padikkal became the 5th debutant in the series, who came in place of Rajat Patidar. Ravichandran Ashwin, who himself is playing his 100th test, handed Padikkal his debut cap. Ashwin was handed his 100th test cap in a special ceremony by the head coach, Rahul Dravid. India is currently leading the 5-match series by 3-1, and till the last reports came in, India were at 72 for a loss of no wicket. And now to discuss more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent from Bristol, John Pivac. John, thank you so much for joining us once again here on Sports Buzz, looking at the condition of England and also considering the 100th test cap for Bairstow but departing for 29. What do you think of the current performance of England today?
Well, woeful is how I've heard it described here in the English media. They are not impressed with how England have performed, especially England's batsmen. They've been very critical of them this entire series, and certainly this 5th test doesn't seem to be making things any better. As you say, England all out for 218. As we've seen in this series, and as was repeated again today on the first day of this 5th and final test, England started brightly with Zach Crawley, and then we had a middle order collapse and finishing on a very poor total. At one stage, England were 175 for 3, and then just 6 overs later they were 183 for 8 before finishing all out for 218. So England have got a lot of problems in their middle order. None of their normally reliable batsmen there are able to deliver, it seems, this winter. Remember, of course, the winter started with the World Cup, which England did very poorly in as well. So really, this is a tour of India to forget for England, both in the World Cup and, it would seem, in this Test series as well. India looking very strong indeed. England looking like they have a lot of questions to answer about where they go from here.
What does this reflect on the captaincy of Team England?
Well, I think England really have got some decisions to make about whether they push ahead with this Bazball style, which is this exciting form of cricket, this aggressive form of cricket, where they're playing all forms of the game like a one-day match, really. So even test match cricket as well. It certainly got people talking when they started playing this way, and it got a lot more interest in the test game again after that really, I think you could argue, was waning here. So I think those are the positives, but there are some people who say that this style of cricket just can't be employed in every test they play, that you have to adapt to the conditions, you have to adapt to the bowlers. We've seen India with their spin bowlers really ripping their way through England's middle order in most of these tests. So that is something that England are going to have to confront. I'm sure what we're going to hear from England at the end of this tour is they are going to say that it's just poor form and that they'll put this behind them and they'll move on and that they'll hope for better this summer in England when they play some tests here. I'm sure that's what we're going to hear, but I think we're going to be hearing more questions about whether the style in which England are playing is a style that they should keep with going forward as they play more cricket this summer.
And looking at the score right now of this particular test match series, do you think would they be able to win this to make it a respectable outing for themselves?
Well, yeah, I was just checking the score here, and I think, to be honest, at 73 for no loss, India are in a very strong position, and that certainly is going to stand them in good stead to win this fifth and final test. Some people saying actually India were unlucky to lose the first test. This could have been a 5-0 whitewash is what some people here are certainly arguing. But for England, it's a disappointing end, isn't it? Because they came into this winter tour of India hoping for good things. They were quite well fancied in the World Cup itself and then performed very poorly indeed. It really started badly when they lost their opening match. So I think a lot of people here are going to be disappointed. They're going to be disappointed that they couldn't do better against an India team that had really been badly depleted by injuries. This is not a hugely experienced India team. I think that's very promising for Indian cricket fans, that you have some excellent youngsters coming through in the India squad who are able to put some of the best teams in the world really under a lot of pressure. So I think disappointment for England, a lot of promise for India, and certainly questions being asked about England going forward.
Indeed. Thank you so much, John, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on England's performance so far and today as well in the fifth and final test match against India. Thank you. Moving on in sports buzz, well, members of the England cricket team, including Ollie Pope, Johnny Bairstow and batting coach Marcus, met Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama in the hillside city of Dharamshala on Wednesday. The team is currently playing the final match of the ongoing test series against India. The hosts have already clinched the series against the visitors with a 5-wicket victory in the fourth test in Ranchi, having a 3-1 lead in the 5-match series. New Zealand will honour two of its great servants when Kane Williamson and Captain Tim Southee will take to the ground in Christchurch to play their 100th test, with Australia stand poised to torpedo the celebrations by completing a series sweep. 8 years after Brendan McCullum's farewell test was spoiled by Australia at Hagley Oval, the Black Caps will be now desperate to give Williamson and Southee a victory to square the two-match series. But they have their work cut out after a 172-run defeat in the first of the two test series last week in Wellington. New Zealand are chasing a first test victory over Australia since 2011 to mark the occasion. Tim Southee and Williamson will become 5th and 6th New Zealand players after Stephen Fleming, Daniel Vettori, Brendan McCullum and Ross Taylor to play 100 tests. Williamson has scored more than 8,600 runs since his debut in 2010, while Southee has 378 wickets, having made his bow in 2008. Staying on cricket, Captain Najmul Hussain Shanto led from the front with an unbeaten half-century as Bangladesh levelled the 3-match T20 International Series with an 8-wicket victory against Sri Lanka on Wednesday. Shanto hit a 6-off pacer, Dasun Shanaka, over T backward square to bring up the victory, as well as his fourth 50 as Bangladesh chased down Sri Lanka's 165 for a loss of 5 with 70 for a loss of 2. He finished with a 38 ball 53, hitting 4 fours and 2 sixes. Tawhid Ridoye was on 32 of 25 balls, including 2 fours and 1 6. Ridoye and Shanto added 87 in an unbeaten third wicket stand to hasten the victory. Bangladesh lost the first game by 3 wickets after a thrilling contest. The third and decisive game will be played on Friday now. Veteran India and Royal Challengers Bangalore wicketkeeper batter Dinesh Karthik will call time on his illustrious career and the Indian Premier League specifically after the upcoming season. According to reports on Thursday, Dinesh Karthik will end his 17-year-old association as a player with the IPL as he is in the twilight of his career. Serving for the likes of Delhi Daredevils, now Delhi Capitals, Mumbai Indians and Kolkata Knight Riders in the last 16 years, the player will end his IPL stint at RCB as they search for their maiden title now. So those were Power 12 Minutes in Sports Buzz, bringing you all the latest from the world of cricket, and now it's time to move on to soccer. Real Madrid withstood an onslaught from RB Leipzig to secure a 1-1 draw in the second leg of their Champions League last 16 tie that sent them through to the quarterfinals with a 2-1 aggregate victory on Wednesday. RB Leipzig were arguably the better side and missed several gilt-edged chances. But Real Madrid increased the tempo in the second half and ultimately did enough to seal their place in the last 8. Bidding for a record-extending 15th Champions League title, Real took the lead and thanks to Vinicius Junior's strike from the counter-attack in the 65th minute. But Leipzig's Willi Orban levelled the score 3 minutes later with a header to set up a tense final few minutes that included a strike that hit the crossbar by Dani Olmo. Manchester City cruised into the Champions League quarter-finals with a 3-1 victory over FC Copenhagen on Wednesday in their last 16 leg. City took care of business early with first-half goals by Manuel Akanji, Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland, starting the game with a 2-goal cushion. Former Southampton player Mohamed pulled one back from Danish champions in the 29th minute, but City's goal-scoring machine Haaland slotted home a low, hard shot through 2 defenders seconds before half-time, his 29th goal of the season across all competitions. City will find out their quarter-final opponents in the draw on the 15th of March. Moving on, Real Madrid and Manchester City are both through to the quarterfinals of this year's Champions League. Before that, let's take a listen to what the players and the coaches have to say on the City verdict.
Luton in FA Cup, don't thinking about United. I played today, I need energy, fresh legs. I know how tired. You don't know how tired, exhausted was my players, some players today, to play against them just 3 days after, because normally in Champions League when you play Wednesday, in all the countries in the world, except in this country, they allow you to play on Saturday. We play on Sunday. So, and I need fresh legs. People like could sustain. We were fortunate, lucky, or whatever, to score 2 goals in early, and that helped us a lot because this competition is so tricky, it's so dangerous.
Now we have played them 2 seasons in a row, and I think they are like just getting better. Individual, they are top players. Both those who are on the pitch, those who are on the bench, but the flexibility, but at the same time the structure they have. Collective-wise is amazing, and then what I also take with me after playing City now in 2 games is they work hard. I'm extremely proud. I think we did everything we could, and I think we have deserved to play those 2 games because I think we were the second best team in the group with Bayern Munich, Manchester United and Galatasaray, with no doubt. I'm not proud of the first game we played in Parken because I think we were too far away from the expression that we really brought us to the round of 16. But there was a game against Manchester City where we hadn't played competitive games for 2 months. I think the game we put together today is good after a difficult start.
Well, Real Madrid and Manchester City are both through to the quarterfinals of this year's Champions League. Madrid beat RB Leipzig by 2-1 on aggregate, and City recorded their second 3-1 victory over FC Copenhagen in 2 ties. DD India's Ollie Barrett reports from London.
Of the 8 spots for the quarterfinals are now settled. Real Madrid with a slightly nervy win in the end over RB Leipzig, perhaps more narrow than they would have liked. For Manchester City, it was much simpler, much easier, cruising past FC Copenhagen, really. Haaland getting his 6th goal in the Champions League so far this season. That takes him to the top of the Champions League scoring charts for this season, alongside Harry Kane of Bayern Munich and Kylian Mbappe of PSG, after they both scored on Tuesday. It's Haaland's 29th goal of all competitions this season so far. Of course, as I say, that followed the wins by PSG and Bayern Munich on Tuesday, which means that, as I say, only 4 of the 8 slots for the quarterfinals remain. The draw for those quarterfinals will take place at UEFA in Nyon in Switzerland on Friday, but that will also set out the route to the semi-finals as well, ahead of the final for this year's Champions League, which is going to be held here in London at Wembley Stadium on June the 1st. In terms of the remaining ties of this round, to settle those final 4 places, we have Arsenal against Porto, Barcelona against Napoli, Atletico Madrid against Inter Milan, and Borussia Dortmund against PSV. All of those games are in a pretty narrow state at the moment, with all of those teams, I think, feeling that they have a chance of going through. But Manchester City and Real Madrid sealing their spots in this year's quarterfinals. Ollie Barrett in London, reporting for DD India.
Well, the famous napkin that led to FC Barcelona signing 13-year-old Lionel Messi is now on display in New York before the document goes up for auction later this month. The 6.5-inch napkin was handwritten in blue ink by Barcelona's sporting director at that time, Carles Rexich, on the 14th of December in the year 2000, promising a contract to secure the young Messi for the Spanish club. The napkin will be on display at Bonham's, New York until Friday in an exhibition that is free and open to the public. It will then be displayed in Paris from the 16th till the 19th of March, and then it will move on to London from the 24th till the 26th of March. Now, Bonham's is auctioning the Messi napkin on behalf of Giglioli, which is an online auction running from the 18th till the 27th of March, with a starting price of $381,975. Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has denied accusations from Spanish authorities that he avoided paying more than $1 million in taxes. Prosecutors in Madrid filed charges against the Italian coach on Wednesday. Southern Europe correspondent Giles Gibson has more. Take a look.
Spanish authorities are calling for Carlo Ancelotti to receive a prison sentence of 4 years and 9 months if he's found guilty of tax fraud. They are accusing Ancelotti of overseeing a group of shell companies that they say had a confusing and complex structure that allowed him to hide some of his earnings. Now, these charges from the Spanish prosecutors first emerged as Carlo Ancelotti was getting his Real Madrid side ready for their Champions League match against the German side RB Leipzig. That's a match that they drew 1-1, a result which meant that they went through to the quarterfinals of that competition. But after the match, we saw Carlo Ancelotti being grilled about his tax affairs rather than his side's performance on the pitch. He told the Spanish outlet Movistar that it's an old story that started years ago, saying that there is a dispute between him and the Spanish tax authorities about exactly when he has been a tax resident in Spain, also saying that he is innocent and let's see what the judge decides. Now, Carlo Ancelotti is undoubtedly an icon of European football, having a very successful playing career, first at several sides in Italy, including most prominently at AC Milan during the late 1980s and the early 1990s. He then went into management after he retired as a player, taking charge of really some of the biggest sides in Europe, including Real Madrid, AC Milan, Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain in France. It's also worth noting that this is just the latest tax case in Spain involving a high-profile figure from the world of sport and also from the wider world of entertainment. We've seen in recent years the Barcelona icon Lionel Messi, the former Real Madrid star Cristiano Ronaldo, as well as the Colombian pop star Shakira, all of them pleading guilty for tax fraud after being pursued by Spanish authorities. Giles Gibson in Rome reporting for DD India.
On to Women's League Cup now, where Arsenal secured spot in the finals in an enthralling performance. Like the men's team against Sheffield United on Monday night, the Gunners started on fire and ended the game as a contest in less than 20 minutes. Stina Blackstenius bagged a brace either side of the 10-minute mark. Frida Manum then got in on the act in the 18th minute, sweeping home in a clinical fashion from the edge of the box. Blackstenius completed her hat-trick 5 minutes before half-time. Arsenal will now face either Manchester City or Chelsea in the FA Women's League Cup final at Molineux on the 31st of March, Sunday this year. We are moving for a short break, but still to come on DD India Sports Pass. Indian contingent in action at the ongoing French Open in badminton. And Max Verstappen's latest statement on his father.
Why is Donald Trump threatening to leave NATO to fend for itself? Is crypto the future of digital money, and are we ready for it? Is there a whole new world out there deep under the Pacific? Watch Connecting the Dots to get the full picture every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching Sports Pass with me, Deepika. Moving on, Germany marked the 100-day countdown to Euro 2024 on Wednesday with a string of events across the country and Chancellor Olaf Scholz holding the official tournament ball. Scholz and several of his cabinet members, including Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, Economy and Climate Minister Robert Habeck and Finance Minister Christian Lindner, took part in the photo shoot with the official ball to mark the countdown. Well, Germany is hosting its first major international football tournament since the 2006 World Cup and the Euros, starting on the June 14th, which will be held across 10 cities in Germany. India's top badminton player PV Sindhu advanced to the women's singles second round after grinding out a 3-game victory over Canada's Michelle Lee at the ongoing French Open Super 750 badminton tournament. Kidambi Srikanth too progressed to the men's singles second round with a stunning victory over Taipei's Zhao Tianchen. On the other hand, India's HS Pranoy fell short to make an early exit. Now, in the next round, Srikanth will fight it out against China's world number 17 Lu Guangzu, who ended the campaign of HS Pranoy with a fine 21-17, 21-17 victory at the adjacent court of the French Open. Indian men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty will take on Malaysia's WC Man and KCT today in their round of 16 encounter. On Tuesday, the duo won their round of 32 match after defeating Malaysia's Ong Yu Sin and T Yong in straight games in Paris. On to tennis now. 3-time champion Rafael Nadal has withdrawn from the Indian Wells Masters on the eve of his first round match, saying that he is not ready to play at the highest level. Nadal returned to competition in Brisbane in January after almost a year, sidelined with a hip flexor injury, but had to miss the Australian Open with another muscle tear. The former world number 1 also expressed regret over his inability to participate in the prestigious tournament despite being on site in the California desert and engaging in training sessions earlier in the week. Well, the 37-year-old Spaniard was scheduled to face former world number 3 Milos Raonic, but will now be replaced by lucky loser Sumit Nagal of India. Moving on to F1 tracks, Formula One world champion Max Verstappen has defended his father after he weighed in on the Christian Horner controversy that has overshadowed Red Bull's start to the new season. Father of the three-time F1 world champion criticized Red Bull's decision to keep Horner in his role, saying that the team is in danger of being torn apart following allegations that the team principal engaged in inappropriate behavior towards a member of the racing team. Verstappen said that his father is very outspoken and is not a liar. Well, Red Bull team boss Horner was at the center of accusations of inappropriate behavior towards a female colleague. After an internal investigation, Red Bull's board dismissed the complaint last week. Indian deaf cricket team won the first match against Bangladesh in Sharjah on Wednesday. The Indian cricket team had reached the stadium to play for the first match between India and Bangladesh. However, due to internal reasons of Bangladesh deaf cricket team, the team could not come to the stadium. The Deaf International Cricket Committee took cognizance of the matter and decided to declare the Indian deaf cricket team the winner of the match and gave 2 points. India will now next take on South Africa today. India's first Blade Runner, solo skydiver and Kargil war hero, Major D.P. Singh, paid tribute to his martyred comrades at the National War Memorial in New Delhi on Wednesday. He also paid tribute to the martyrs who sacrificed their lives in the name of the country, including his fellow course mate, martyr Captain Vikram Batra. Major D.P. Singh, who lost his leg in the Kargil war, has many achievements in his name. D.P. Singh has run 26 half marathons so far. Not only this, the record of Asia's fastest solo skydiver is also registered in his name.
See, I belong to 101 regular course, and 101, 99 and 100 regular courses, or maybe 102 regular course. These are the 4 courses who got affected the most during Operation Vijay. And this is the 25th year of Operation Vijay. So it was the apt opportunity for me to go and pay homage to at least all my course mates. There are 27 of us who are no more with us in these many 25 years. So the families got affected because of the loss of sons or husbands or brothers. As a citizen of India, you are able to take care of Mother Earth and you are able to take care of yourself. You know, that's like a homage paying back to the respect paying back to these soldiers. So it is very important that we should understand the sacrifice of the soldiers because of which we are living now peacefully.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Sports Pass. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehta, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Sports Pass. Namaskar.